Next up, I'm sure not a contentious category whatsoever. Gaming moment of the year. Previous winners in this category: 2015, The Hospital from Metal Gear Solid 5; 2016, E1M1 Doom; 2017, Mesquite, Texas from Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus; 2018, Blades of Chaos in God of War; 2019, the title sequence in Ape Out; 2020, one of the defining victories of Mark and Jack's tenure on the show, Bobby in Paper Mario; and
Rip
2021.
Bobby. We miss you, Bobby. What a king.
Oh, yeah.
2021, 2021, another classic Jack moment. Although I think we were all pretty much in favorite last year by the end. Dartmoor, Knives Out, Hitman 3. Incredible. So
by the way, this category, by the way, of all the categories on here, I look at this category and I'm like, this feels a category that I identify with most. Like, this is the one that I love. That all of those, you listed out those first three choices there, like hospital scene, E1, M1, and then like what was the next one? Was
Mesquite.
Was Mesquite, Texas. Oh my god! Like, we need to pick a great moment here, guys, so we can live up.
It is like the bar is high.
Yeah,
the bar is high. Our nominees this year are Fighting Starscourge, Radahn, Elden Ring; The Hidden Mechanic, Immortality; Trombone Champ as a general concept; The Endless Pit, not the bucket, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe; Calamari Inkantation 3 Mix / Splatoon Ending, Splatoon 3; Reef Slider, Splatoon 3; Fight the One Who Waits in Cult of the Lamb; Bad Reviews in Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe; Ding, Powerwash Simulator; and the hallway or Oldboy scene in SiFu. Starting us off here and moving clockwise, it's Mark.
I got a spicy take for you here.
Oh, really? Spicier than closing an entire industry?
Yep. Right. The first time it happens, no doubt. Absolutely. I remember I was sitting there, we was playing, me and Maria, we were playing this. And the first time that I clocked on that, oh, wait, what if I try this? Oh, my God, this is incredible. And the particular moment I got with the reveal was incredible. However, I have an issue with the hidden mechanic in Immortality. And that is,
there's actors in it. Is that
that's true? It requires people
too many people getting money out of it. If it was performed by mime, then
no. My issue is that, like, I'm just going to note all of this. The game hangs its hat on this, and there's no actual there's no depth to this mechanic past that. Just like, all right, I'm going to go into the scene now, and I'm just going to wait until my controller starts rumbling, or I'm going to hear that noise, and then I'm going to rewind the scene. And again, the first time it happens, the first time you kind of clock on that, wait, my controller's rumbling here. There's this ominous sound, like, I guess, I can rewind the scene. Oh, yeah, I can. Oh, shit, right, fuck. This guy who was, like, here a minute ago is now lying on the floor and his neck is slashed. Yeah. And I've now found this whole underworld part to this game. Holy shit. Wow, what are we doing? The problem is that hidden mechanic then becomes it's not hidden anymore, and there's no actual depth to how you use that.
But
mechanic.
it is moment.
That's
talking
the thing.
That's moment.
It's moment, not mechanic of the year. So like the reveal of the moment, the reveal of the mechanic is the moment, not the sustained use of the mechanic.
Diluted from every other time afterwards that I have to deal with it.
I would agree that I think one thing that I think knocks this game down a little bit is that it does become a bit rote, because once you figure it out, I'm then very
and it's super fucking finicky sometimes as well.
See what?
I'm also dumb and I couldn't figure it out.
So I found it by accident. I was pressing all the buttons and all this other shit. I was like, what does this game want me to do? And then I misheard something and I rewinded and I was like, oh, okay.
I'm always I'm going to be the highest man of this game whenever it's mentioned. So like, I think the idea is genius. I think the first moment it happens is one of the things that's going to stick with me long after a lot of the games of this year are forgotten. I'll remember that moment, finally starting to figure out what's going on behind everything. I think it absolutely earns its place on here. Do I think it's going to survive all the way to the top? Based on this discussion, I would say no.
I think the coolest thing about it is that the moment it happens for all of us will be completely different. Like
Yes.
we'll choose different things in the scenes, we'll choose different objects, and the moment this happens, we'll all get a different scene, and it will land differently with all
organic
of us,
in that
really
way.
cool.
Yeah.
So it's like while it is a one moment we have on this list, the moment for all of us was different. We all got that moment in different scenes.
I should have mentioned that as well. Is like that it's one of the coolest things, because like as great as like I don't mean this isn't trying to discredit any of the moments we've ever awarded moment of the year to, but a lot of them are moments where we are funneled down a corridor where this moment happens, like you said, identically for all of us, like the Blades of Chaos or E1M1 or Mesquite. It happens exactly the same way, because it's like it's a pre-planned series of set pieces or moments or what have you. And one of the joys of this is that you just happen upon it at various stages, either like fairly early doors. It could be a fairly innocuous moment that you rewind. It could be not at all, as Jack is indicating on the video there. Or it could, you know what I mean? Like it's an individual experience. And when I think about like something that would be my gaming moment of the year, I think about like this experience felt like something I went through and I can take away and I will remember. So I think it's the most unique of all 10, but I would say that like just based on the temperature of the room, it's not going to win, even though it maybe would for me. So we're getting rid of it.
It's really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah, when you say Immortality and it happens, you will be, and especially the fact that it'll be a different scene, so you'll have a different emotional reaction to it depending what the scene is, which I think is a really cool, cool aspect of the moment.
Just to twist the knife on another game somewhat, I will say that the underbelly of Immortality is about 1,000 times more compelling than anything in Tunic. Okay, let's move on. That's the last time I'll be.
He swings for the fences, does Barry.
Not even in this category, and he's taking shit.
I love how we just fought tooth and nail to the hilt down to the wire tiebreaker for Immortality, and then its main thing is caught in the next category immediately. God, fuck this.
I like. So I'm next.
I would suggest there's some petty malice involved in that, given Mark was on the other side of that tiebreaker, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh dear.
So I am next, and like there's a bunch of these moments I played through. One or two of them I didn't. So I'm going to take my first swing and just go, while it is a really funny moment that became a widespread meme, I would, just based on the way we talked about it, it's not really a moment. It's more the entire experience of the thing. And also in terms of like, it is super memorable, a super special experience in the video game, Trombone Champ.
Get out of here. Killjoy. I'm like, get Trombone. No memes. This is like giving fidget spinner moment of the year. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Garrett, these last two categories,
that's it. But like, it's a fun little online meme, and then you're like, oh, moment of the year. Nah.
I don't know. That PC Gamer tweet when it first came out, and that was the first reveal.
We can't give a tweet moment of the year, by the way.
I don't know. And then when
like, if any of us had
Jericho the other day tweeted
how dare
something.
let's
not get into it.
I saved Pokemon for you, Jeff. Fair enough, it screwed you over God of War, but I saved Pokemon for you.
There's no friends in Game of
But like, if any of us had this moment in the game with Trombone Champ, I might hear an argument, but none of us did. We all saw the tweet.
But and it's also it's the game. It's not a moment in the game. It's what the game is. Like you make the silly trombone noises with like.
I mean, that's true, but also like I remember when I sent Jack the Snake Eater cover, and
again, you didn't play it. You sent a video.
Still a moment.
We had none of these moments within the video game. Get out of here.
I guess to be honest as well, Garrett's making a point, but the thing I can get on board with here is that it's referencing a better moment from a better video game. It is fucking funny though. I know you know what memes are with it. Garrett, the first time I saw In the End by Linkin Park, I had to stop. I paused. I was crying laughing.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
God bless you, best.
But it doesn't like again, like Dave reading out the big hitter moments at the start of the category. If Trombone Champ,
it's not in the same
death
universe.
of Bobby exploding as a hero and Trombone Champ.
Stupid fucking bomb. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I forgot you were the real low man on Bobby.
I was the dissenter.
Yeah, well, I didn't play it, but I was kind of like, I think I was ambivalent if I recall correctly. Okay, Garrett, you're next.
Fight the one who waits from Cult of the Lamb. Fine
Yeah.
boss battle. Not memorable at all.
It's fine. It's a really cool looking game, but I think by the time you get to the one who waits, you're kind of a little bit kind of the moment is you're kind of glad it's over because it's outstayed its welcome.
It's a relief.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's fine.
I-
Like again, I think it's one of those. If it wasn't a year where I had played boss battles the caliber of those in Elden Ring, it'd be a lot higher for
Yeah.
me. But I'm just like I can't, in all good conscience, say that was like the best boss battle.
I love the fact that at the end, you are given the choice whether to kill the one who waits or because he turns into basically like a tiny little minion like the others that you rescue along the way, and so you're given a choice whether to sacrifice him or not, and you can keep him, and he has the immortality trait, because the thing with Call of the Lamb, if you haven't played it, is you can rescue all of these minions or familiars along the way, and you bring them back to your work farm station, but they will die. They grow old over time and they will die, but he is the only one that has the immortality trait. So if you do any kind of like post-game stuff, you do at least have that one character. But by that point, you have...
Is that why he waits? Because he's immortal? He's got
There
the
you
time?
go. Exactly.
Speaking of immortality, do you like that
Deep
moment
lore.
like where it vibrates and like you can just
But it's a pretty good boss fight. It is a pretty good boss fight. But I mean, even like God of War, as much as I've ragged on that, does actually have some really good boss fights as well. So
As much as you've
Yeah,
ragged
if you were like to
on it.
compare to the Thor boss fight, it's like, well, it doesn't stand next to it at
Exactly.
all.
Yeah. Okay, Barry, my friend, you are next.
Oh, okay. This, you said no memes. Powerwash Simulator.
I think right.
it's not a meme.
it's not a
really
meme.
fun
It's not a
game.
meme. It's
not
it's
good.
an
I tell you what it is,
experience.
lads. It's not good.
It's
is what it is.
endorphin
Do you know what it is?
Go ahead.
I think the angle of attack on this one is kind of what Jack has been saying this whole category, whereas like you look at the things it would sit on the roll of honor with, and it's nowhere near.
I would have no
That
opposition
said-
to that.
That said, the Wilmot's Warehouse loving part of my brain absolutely loves the little pat on the head that the ding
Oh.
provides for you.
It's
The li-
just, especially when you've been working a really piece, right? Which is a weird sentence to say in Game of the Year. You've been working a strangely, oddly shapen piece, and you just can't. It's like, where's my? Oh, and then you see that last bit of dirt, and then the ding, and it flashes, and all of a sudden you're at peace. Everything is right with the world.
To be honest, Jack, I like the idea that you're playing Powerwash Simulator like someone who doesn't play games, who plays a driving game where they're turning the control like a steering wheel, and you're fucking flinging around like trying to wash
Oh mate,
like that.
I've rigged it up so I can use a light gun, so I can just like fully. I'm immersed, baby.
God, this would have been a
Yeah.
great Wii game, wouldn't it?
Oh my god.
Incredible.
There
Yeah.
probably is some
a
fucking
great-
shovelware
A great
somewhere.
VR experience, I
Yeah.
think.
I want to rig it up to an
ding,
actual power washer.
No,
so
I think Ding goes. I think Ding is great, but
the ding did
Ding's
not sustain me. Like I thought that game was cute for about 20 minutes, and then it was once I got to like the house, I was like, what am I doing? This is so long and grueling, and it doesn't feel especially good mechanically. And let me tell you, the ding is all right the first time. That ain't sustaining me, that ding. Do you know what I mean?
Barry
Look,
Do you
here.
think it's because he
Having
got
a
the house and he
social
never
life.
got the ding, so he resents the ding?
I
Yeah.
got
Look, you didn't
loads
get
of
the ding.
dings.
You
You
didn't
take
get the
that
ding.
back. If we're talking about if we're talking about like really, really, really great feedback for getting a thing or completing a thing, like I would swap that out for every piece of UI in Tinykin. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like that game is a joy to complete. Every little thing is, and you know what you're doing in Tinykin? You're exploring a whimsical world. You're not cleaning a bin. Do you know what I mean?
I
That'd
think
be
you could
cool.
also
What a
swap
bit-
it out for every second that you manage to be in Elden Ring and still alive.
Yes.
Gives me more
Glorious
than
feeling.
Torpor. It's like I haven't been killed yet. I haven't been killed yet. I haven't been killed yet.
And I probably feel that more than any of you.
Yeah,
But just
yeah,
imagine,
yeah.
just imagine, right? Instead of like you defeating any boss in Elden Ring, it comes
You
up
had
with
a
like
power
enemy
washer.
felled or whatever. You just got a little ding instead.
Oh, and I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say house felled in Powerwash Simulator. It's like I can get on board with that.
That would actually roll.
And
I
that was
would've
actually,
completed
it was one of my contenders that didn't get like a second vote on it. Is just like I think the most powerful rush of endorphins I got was the first time I saw the demigod felled graphic. I could have run through a brick wall after that. Like, you know.
But listen, I completed Powerwash Simulator, Barry. I cleaned every inch of everything in that game.
Yeah, but you are the man who has acknowledged within the last hour about how you love the little like checkbox games of going around definitely more than we do. So like, it's definitely a valid experience.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good. You talk about podcast games, like a proper.
Perfect
If you
podcast
need to
game.
switch off your brain.
Yeah.
And just like fucking wash a patio.
No, you can't listen to a podcast because you can't hear the ding. Then
You
You're
can.
ruining
No,
it.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
an anti-ding argument.
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
No, because like I fucking in a sale got one of those the Xbox things with the mixer, so I can listen to both.
That is great. I was just
Yeah.
using that early. Like
It's so
if
good.
you don't plug enough of Phil Spencer's products on this podcast, that is a great headset.
Oh, that headset!
It's perfect for. I was playing like a great podcast game, Fortnite. Like it's literally got a podcast level adjusting slider.
Yes,
What a piece of equipment.
You just
hashtag
turn,
ad.
you turn the cup like so that when like a cutscene comes, I need to pay attention to this. Slide it one way. All right, we're back to dingless times.
The
Slide
world would
this
be
way.
such a better place if Powerwash Simulator had the same popularity as Fortnite.
It would.
That's what
look,
Barry's just
look,
taught me.
Jack. It would certainly be cleaner. This I will not
It would
argue.
be.
But
It would be.
I think we've spent an almost morbidly long time talking
One
about
more
the ding,
thing
and
about
it's
the
not going to
ding.
finish.
I don't have anything else. To
Another
say.
ding thing.
I can't defend the ding.
Okay. So Jack, it's your turn.
Of the two moments in this game that are on here, I'm probably want to keep one of them more than the other. So I'm going to cut off the Calamari
Oh
Inkantation.
No,
Garrett is coming for you.
I gotta be honest, Jack. Like I feel like
you were setting that up as like of the two moments.
Yeah.
It's like the little insubstantial moment you have when you do the reef slider,
I'm aware
or the
of
like
Reef Slider
fucking
is very
kick-ass
personal.
amazing ending of Splatoon 3.
I love with all my heart and soul every reef slider moment we've ever done, but I feel like that
The ending
became
of the game,
a very
but-
internalized meme among the four of us regular hosts,
Yes.
like where we built that thing up like way more than it should have, and it's satisfying. But like I
The
feel
end
like
of the game.
Garrett-
But what if we got the Calamari Inkantation? Like this is what I wasn't like the actual ending of the game where you're like fucking apocalyptic and everything is really cool. But like the Calamari Inkantation thing is like,
Can I just say before he goes off on his promo now that Garrett is a man of peace, but I suspect
no, he
that
isn't.
if you pick that,
Have you seen him on Twitter?
if you
No, he's not.
yeah. Okay, he's not a man of literal violence often, but I don't use the phrase tear you limb from limb very often, but I think he will if you choose that moment over Reef Slider to go right now.
All right, fine. I'll take off Reef Slider. Just shatter my dreams.
And no, Jack, look, I'm right with you on the Reef Slider as a subjective thing. Like I love every time you thundered the words Reef Slider so loud, I think your entire road woke up. I loved it. Couldn't get enough of it. We should have made it a soundbite and played it on the podcast all the time.
Reef Slider. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
But also, I wish I could have put Teabagger on here as well.
oh yes.
The ultimate
yes.
battle cry.
Well, that's it. That's like how it eventually evolved into you screaming teabagger at children.
Yes. Yep, they deserved it. Every last one of them.
So right, we have been spared. Garrett can put the gun back in the holster for this round. We've gotten rid of Reef Slider instead.
Imagine he cuts it now. I'd be so
Just
happy.
anyway, he's got the pen. Okay, so Jack, you're done. It's back round to Mark now.
Well, I enjoy both of these moments greatly, but they are from the same game, so one of them is going to have to go.
Mhm.
I can't pick one, so I think just
It's
between
so hard, isn't it? I was
between
thinking
the
the same.
five
It's
of
like there's two from Stanley Parable, and they're both fantastic, and I really can't pick between them.
I
Go on, Dave.
think I prefer the Endless Pit personally.
Yeah, I nominated bad reviews before I saw the Endless Pit, and if it was a gun to head, you can have only one per game. I'd probably do Endless Pit.
The thing is, I went back and I watched the bad review segment today, and like the first bad review is a guy who's just basically saying that the narrator is like pompous and unfunny, and just the way the narrator goes unfunny.
Yeah.
It's like in pure like Matt Berry tone. I was like, all right, we're off to a good start here. And
That
this comes
narrator should
after
be in the
and this-
conversation for character of the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's
But this
incredible.
comes after like the whole bit where he's going through the memory zone, he's going through all of the good reviews. It's like here's like James Stephanie Sterling's Destructoid review, like, oh my god, what a wonderful review, and here's the GameSpot review, and then you just stumble across this like one bad Steam review, and again,
a real Steam review, by the way. They actually pulled actual Steam reviews,
and that's the thing, as like with everything about this game, where it's all very meta and a deconstruction of blah blah blah. It's like none of us have made a game, but we've all heard or been subject to negativity at some point in our lives, I imagine.
We all saw the Days Gone guy have a meltdown.
Yeah. But like the idea of you having a game that you've put years of your life into and then having to go onto a platform like Steam and have people, summarize your game in a couple of lines, just go, it wasn't for me, or the narrator's pompous, or this or that or whatever. Like you have to have an incredible like level of thick skin to deal with that sort of stuff. And the idea to take whatever you feel about that and to channel that into this kind of segment of the game that is both incredibly poignant but very funny as well, and then it all ends with the bit where it's like, the game would be better if it had a skip sequence, and then you have a whole like 5-minute segment about you skipping parts of the game and how it does all of that as well. I do like the bad review section, but I do like the Endless Pit section. I don't know.
The Endless Pit takes some turns, man. Like,
no, it doesn't. It's just straight down.
Yeah, no, but when it goes into that weird graphical thing, and you're just like constantly changing around, and you just don't know what's going on.
You have the puppies running toward the screen filter, which is my personal favorite.
Yeah, it's just so fucking good. Like you just don't expect it's gonna, and you don't know where it's gonna go as well. Like that's the thing I love about Stanley Parable, is that around every corner is whatever you could possibly think of. But then whatever you could think of probably isn't going to be as weird or as original as what is around the next corner. And these two moments are perfect examples of that.
I think my favorite part of the pit is that you're stuck in what is literally a 1 foot deep pit at the end.
Pit. Yeah, with no
and you can't get out because the game doesn't have a jump button. Yeah. So you're literally stuck in the smallest pit imaginable.
And the narrator's like, we haven't added a jump button, so I'm not really sure. And then of course you can go in there with a bucket, which just makes it even better.
So what way are we going then?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
Can we be ruthless and say that neither of these are probably going to win?
We still have to cut one now.
It's tough, but I think it's fair.
One of these could make top 3.
The only reason I'm saying that is because we seem split on which one. Because the funny thing is, because it's like the bad reviews is like your classic just game industry commentary, Stanley Parable stuff, and then the Endless Pit is the other Stanley Parable stuff, which is it's got that lovely layer of absurdism about it, which is great. I'm not saying we have to, but I'm just saying it doesn't feel like we can pick one. It also doesn't feel like I think either of them was winning. I'm just floating it.
Yeah, I don't think either of them are necessarily number one. For me, I think they were great.
I'd be quite happy.
I wouldn't mind if either one. They wouldn't be my vote. I'd have 2 ahead of both of them. But if either one, I'd be like, yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so it sounds like we can call them then.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I could.
Okay, what wins, Mark? If one of these was to stay and win, what would it be? And we'll cut the other one.
I'd lean Pit.
I would also lean Pit.
I would keep Pit.
Yeah, I think I'll go Pit.
As I said, I put reviews on there before I saw the Pit, and like if we had a 1 game rule, I'd pick the Pit over it.
I also had reviews as well, but I'm happy to go Pit.
Rhyme me, gents. Who was that again?
That was me.
Mark. Okay, so it's to me. I'm gonna cut the Pit. No. I'm probably gonna go. Just again, it's the one I have the least kind of personal relation to is the SiFu moment.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. But you know what's pretty good? Oldboy.
Yeah, it's a nice callback to something else, because I did play like the first level of SiFu, so I know what we're doing. I know what we're talking about because I played a level of a game. But I did give it the 15 minutes. You get to it within 15 minutes, thankfully, for this game. It is a nice callback, but like moment of the year, again, it's calling back to a moment in a better thing.
Okay, but
it's hard to make a moment of the year. Okay.
How many times have you watched a great movie and imagine if that was a video game? Imagine if you could play John Wick. Imagine if you could, and they put out a bad game, but imagine if they put out a good game. like it is calling back that, but it's not just because it's not just a callback, because that moment encapsulates what's great about SiFu. It's the incredibly challenging, super fast combat and those gorgeous animations, so that it's like every time you successfully do a combo, it's not just I beat an enemy. It's like every guy you beat in succession, you're feeling better and better and better. Oh my God, what a scene.
I totally think like being media literate and referencing another property or movie isn't necessarily disqualifying in and of itself. But I think just that, like, I had that moment and it was cool. But in terms of like the games on here that I have like a hugely warm feeling towards and moments that just kind of sat with me and then I kept playing the game, it's 4th of 4 here.
I would love to fight for it, but I don't think I as the SiFu man here,
I fucking love that because I vote for this moment as well.
Okay,
I remember
yeah.
Because I didn't finish SiFu and I ended up being lower on SiFu in general than I thought I was going to be. But I can come back to whenever I do that first level, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, right. I'm cluing myself back up with the mechanics and whatnot. But every time I get to that that scene, and you're going through in, you know, in that kind of like 2D plane, and you're just chaining these combos together, and it's like, yeah, you could just watch the film, and it's obviously a great film and it's an iconic moment. But there is something incredibly satisfying about actually playing through that, and you know, the way that SiFu flows combat wise, it's very similar to the Arkham games in that combat where, you know, you go from just one move to another and you chain and you get this flow and you go into like this zen-like state.
You're going to that place.
You are going to that place with the voices are in my head. But SiFu just, it takes it basically to the next level. And there's that, and there's like the moment when you go into the club in level 2 and the music kind of kicks into the next gear as well. And it's those two moments every time I play them, and you know, I had to replay both those levels quite a few times because I wasn't very good.
yeah.
But every single time, like the music kicks in, you get to that old boy scene, I'm like, fucking, let's fucking go. I'm fucking here for it. So I probably would say I do have at least one, maybe two moments I would have higher, but it's fucking great though.
I mean,
it's a great piece of game direction.
And because it's like I was saying there, it's about how you always watch a great action movie and you wish you could. I mean, that's why licensed games exist, because we watch media and we go, oh man, imagine if you were doing that. Because it's like SiFu has the Arkham quality to it, but it's way harder than an Arkham game. It has a Soulsy kind of quality to it. So it's like every time you dodge a punch, and the animation when you dodge is so good. It's like I am the kung fu master of the world. It's probably not going to stay, but oh, man, SiFu's cool. I'm so close to platinuming that game. It's about how much do I hate myself. It really is. It's like I gotta go back and just do it.
It feels appropriate that the man we go to cut the final game is the one for whom this is a real Sophie's choice, and it's Garrett.
These are, I think, the three moments I had on the list. Let's
hit them. We've got Calamari Inkantation, which we've talked a little bit about, Endless Pit, which we've talked endlessly about, and fighting Starscourge Radahn.
This is where I cut Pit. I have two above it.
Yeah.
It's Starscourge Radahn, and it's the Splatoon ending.
I would back you on that, and it's not because I have hugely strong feelings about the Splatoon one. It's because I know how strongly you feel about it and how you've been talking about this singular moment for so long that as much as I enjoy the Endless Pit and think it's, again, like Barry has been saying about the stuff with Stanley Parable, like they're great bits, don't get me wrong, but it sounds like this fucking ending is really gonna fucking like sit with you until your next game of the year of the week.
Can you define which bit of the ending?
Yeah, give me the sales pitch on this.
Is it the fight with the giant bear?
Well, it's that, including the lead up to it. So the end of this game, you get on a rocket to chase an evil business bear to space, because the evil business bear would like to destroy the world with his evil goop that would turn everything into mammals, I think, is the Splatoon story. And he wants to shoot the rocket into Earth to explode his evil goop over the world. So you chase him into space, you go through a bunch of levels and all that. You do one like phase of a boss fight where it looks like he's going to win. And then the idols of this game and the idols of the first game show up, along with DJ Octavio, who's the villain of the first two games, who you beat in the tutorial of this game, which I think is a nice touch. DJ Octavio starts playing the classic Splatoon song of the final boss of all of these games, which is Calamari Inkantation. But this is the 3-mix, it's the third version. So they play that song, they all start singing, your small fry channels all of the power of the water of the world. All of the souls of the fish go
Splatoon, the way of water.
Yes, all of the souls of the fish go into your small fry, and he becomes a huge fry as the Calamari Inkantation. If you played Splatoon 1 or 2, particularly Splatoon 1, the ending of that is where they had Calamari Inkantation for the first time and had like maximum impact. But like, you know, when this is happening, exactly when that song is going to kick in, like you're waiting for it, and they cut to a wide shot of you on a spaceship, and then that song kicks in. Magic. Pure, utter video game magic. So then you ride on DJ Octavio's DJ Station spaceship with your giant Hoover to hoover the evil goop off of the business bear in order to defeat him and save the world. And that sequence of events, no notes, magnificent.
The spaceship bear bit is amazing. Like that whole, because to me, like when I saw it and I read it at first, I thought you just meant the bit with the song, and I was like, that bit's not that great. But
it's like that because this happens over like 3 minutes. It's like a 3-minute cutscene that leads into the final boss that has the song as like the kind of peak emotional moment where you start battling back against Mr. Grizz, the business bear.
It was probably my second favorite, like insane ending to a game I didn't see coming this year, and I put it on, but no one else voted for it. The end of Kirby. It's
yeah, these are like two sides of the same coin. Because I
defeated God by throwing a truck at him. It's so good.
Full scale truck, and it explodes in like a hellscape, and it's a Kirby game.
It does go a bit bonkers, yeah.
But you don't have a spaceship that's sucking the furballs off a giant bear, though. So,
and they also don't play Calamari Inkantation, which is fantastic, great song. It's again, and like there's the little touch that you defeated DJ Octavio twice with the power of his song, and this time he's the one remixing it. It's long-term storytelling. He's on your side. It's the babyface turn of the villain from the first two games. It's so good. I really love it. It's the kind of
booking that Impact is at its finest with. I'm sure, Gary.
Swerves. I love it. I really loved it. Like I popped off my chair when Calamari Inkantation started playing, because again, like when they cut to the wide shot, like this is the moment. This is the song they play in the final boss of the Splatoon games. That's a really good version of it as well, because it has the added layers. Big Guy singing on it, which obviously adds an extra layer. A big thumbs up for Big Guy.
One of the greats.
Yeah, I love this. I love it so much. I love it with all my heart.
So
it's stupid.
So you want to cut the pit?
Yeah, pit's out of here.
Okay. Leaves us with 2.
I mean, I guess we at this point should talk about the Radahn fight, right? Because we're down to 2.
I'm in a tough spot here. I don't know what I want to win.
Because let's say one thing, right? This Radahn fight is fucking unbelievable.
And this is like you could put pretty much any of the proper big time bosses from Elden Ring on this and make a very compelling argument. Like myself and Garrett recently talking about Godric the Grafted as your first like demigod fight in the whole game, and halfway through it he gets a dragon arm, and that's the first one of those fights in the game.
Yeah, not only does he get a dragon arm, he chops the head off a dragon and grafts it onto his own arm, and then starts breathing fire on you.
Yes,
because that's what this game is.
Yeah. So that's one. But in terms of like, so they obviously do boss battles great, but in terms of scale, spectacle, drama, and challenge all mixed in together, I think like if you're just going purely on challenge, you might go Millennia. Is that how you say her name? I haven't gotten to her yet.
She is the toughest bot in the game. Yeah,
she's the toughest. People have said she's arguably the toughest boss in any of the From games so far. But for that balance of everything you come to Elden Ring for, everything you come to a FromSoft game for, and just something that looks, it's kind of the reverse of what Barry was saying before, where it's like it is such a cool battle, such incredible scale to it, that I'm always like, I wish this was a fucking badass film so I could enjoy it instead of like trying to fight for my goddamn life.
And usually in these games, summoning characters is considered like a little bit of a cheat. Like it's the way to cheese the boss. Whereas this is like the whole idea of this boss is you come up to this castle, which usually when you come across a castle in this game, you're like, oh no, tons of enemies. I think there's only a handful of enemies, and there's a path through this castle that's non-combat. Then you meet all the people in the courtyard, and they big up. It's like, we're about to go on the hunt. We're about to hunt one of these demigods, because this demigod is one of the strongest demigods in the world, and we need to team up. So when you get out into the battlefield, that you then have you can summon, I think, up to like 7 or 8 different NPCs to fight alongside you, and it's that cool moment of like 8 of you just charging toward
Squad.
this guy.
Well, while avoiding his giant fucking spears that he's hurling at you as well.
And the setting
And, like,
is
there's
incredible.
The desert, like, it's just.
And these aren't all just random NPCs either. They're all characters that you could do side quests of. You don't have to, like, they appear there regardless. But you have the deeper attachment to Potman and all that, because he's there. He's fighting alongside you to try and take down this demigod. It's a really, really cool thing. And
it's like you mentioned the spectacle, and it's kind of like somewhat unfairly, the From games kind of have this rep of just being super hard, kind of. I mean, they are certainly, they have been janky over the years. But they've always had this spectacle and cool art styles, but Elden Ring especially really just puts the cherry on top of that sentiment, because I remember, like, this fight in particular, but even like the first time I fought a dragon, I'm like, put this up against Skyrim or any Zelda game. This is just great high fantasy spectacle. And then the gameplay obviously is phenomenal, but it's like the sheer incredible visuals and scale of it all. And just, for a game that's so much about getting owned and having to deal with it and figuring it out and having to grind and get better and pain and suffering. And it's just, you get that stupid, goofy fucking Avengers Assemble moment where you're all going over the hill together with all your boys. Oh man, it's so cool.
I have not yet triumphed over Radahn, but I've experienced the moment. I've experienced them. That's where I am right now. And I have experienced the moment that it is like there have been various stages of the year, like of my time playing the game, where I was like, no, the fucking Godric the Grafted moment, or this moment, or that moment. And this just feels like it's really, like, of the two of them, like I said, Garrett, like, much as I love the passion and I love Splatoon, and God, we all need to get back playing Splatoon as a squad, because that was some of the most fun I've had playing games this year.
Also, that single player, as a general, it rules. That single player is so
really
good. The variety of single player levels.
To be that
it's
good.
really fun.
Criminally underrated. But I feel like it's Starscourge Radahn here.
It sounds like at least a review would vote for the Radahn fight.
Well, actually, Barrett, what would you vote for?
The thing I would go with Radahn, and it's only to some degree, it's because I think I may have only played a couple of hours past that, if even that, and I haven't touched it since. So Radahn is like kind of like the last proper memory I have of the game. But it's just, I remember just sitting there, jaw, like literally. It was the moment for me where, because I was enjoying the game up until that point, I would still have like just little bits and pieces that would like do my head in and whatever. But I remember just that boss fight in particular, I was like, you know what?
And I gotta say, I watched it, and it's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's like
this game would be able to win that fight.
Is it one of the?
Here's the thing: because you have all those characters, you can cheese it. It takes absolutely fucking forever. But I was on like a sliver of health. I ran out of all my potions, so I ran to the other side of the map and kept reviving my dudes. And slowly, over the course of like 30 minutes, chipped away, and then ran in and he killed me in one hit. But I tried my damnedest to cheese this dude.
Look. However you win is however you fucking win in a From Software game.
Absolutely,
exactly.
It's all in there. It's all
sometimes takes 100 goes. Sometimes it's down in one. It's you take the victories as they come.
And when you look at this game, like this big, huge, hulking, ginormous game with all these big, huge moments and memorable characters and huge fights, I think everybody comes away from this game being like, "Oh fuck, the Radahn fight, am I right?" Like, for a moment in a game this big and this impactful to like transcend even that, I think speaks to how
it's the epic moment among a game that is hewn almost exclusively of great moments, So let's put it to a vote in order. Mark.
I mean, Radahn.
Me, Radahn. Garrett.
I'll throw a vote this was Darren just to big up my big guy.
Okay, Barry.
Big man.
I'll go Radahn.
Jack.
I'm gonna vote obviously Splatoon just because I want to keep backing up Garrett.
Okay. I have to say
it's a real tight, close 3-2 call for this.
I haven't finished it, but I am enjoying the Splatoon single player more than the multiplayer by a factor of, I think, about 1 million.
You've had some.
You should not be playing with us. That's why
you've had some trials playing that game.
I think you are very unfortunate that you're now coming in. Play the game on Christmas Day, Barry. You'll beat a bunch of fun.
I think it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be a good Christmas game.
You needed to be watching like the four of us, like thinking, are we actually fucking class at this game? And then we were on the last Splatfest.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and we were just absolutely mincemeat. Fucking hell.
You do get to the unfortunate stage where like the people who are playing this game now still are the people who are good at it. So
Right,
you're playing
yeah.
against like good players.
Yeah.
So yeah, playing on Christmas. I've done this with Splatoon for like 5 years, which tells me what kind of a sadist I am. Where every day on Christmas Day I'll put it up for like half an hour, or a bunch of kids who just got their Switch are playing Splatoon for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm ruining their lives.
Well, like, one of our friends, Nina, he got the game a few weeks after us, and then he started doing the matchmaking online. And obviously he was like really low level, so it was throwing us in with a load of lower level players, and we were just cleaning up, and it felt so good. So I absolutely echo your sentiments there. But yeah, gonna give it up to Big Radahn, Zinedine Radahn.
I think this is going to be like, even though it's a 3-2 squeaker in terms of numbers, I think it's the most like satisfied we all feel with the winners
Right.
so far. At the least,
It is one of
acrimonious.
those where, like, regardless of our passion projects or anything, it's the moment. It's the
Yeah,
moment
it
in
is
video
the
games
moment.
this year.
I watched it and I was like, I can't really fucking argue with these lads on this at all. Nothing else on the thing. I was like, I don't know if I can put up a fight for anything. over
So your 2022 gaming moment of the year, fighting Starscourge Radahn in Elden Ring. Now it's time. I am fascinated to see what the results of the poll are on this one.
I think it's going to be Radahn, right? Again, this one.
Yeah,
I'm
slam
confident.
dunk.
well, it
into that,
depends on
yeah.
how many times McGee voted. I
Yeah.
think this will be the tell.
He got his account taken away halfway through. So sorry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Rip.
He's back though, isn't he?
He is back for now, I think.
Till the next time he calls someone. a heavy bit.
So winning with 26.8% of the poll, Starscourge Radahn.
Hell yeah.
There we
That's
are.
honestly a lower percentage than I thought it would be.
Second place, Ding.
Democracy does not work.
Vindication.
And then tied for third place, a Mark Robinson double, Oldboy Scene and Trombone Champ.
Yeah. Okay.
Imagine we'd been at a time.
Toot, motherfucker.
Barry and Trombone Champ had won.
SiFu
Garrett.
hanging with the meme game. That's all right. You know.
Yeah.